Hey everybody, welcome back to Rack and Rock Chronicles here on Carbon TV, and what an episode we have for you today. But to get started, I want to wish everybody, all of our viewers, all of our friends, all of our family, a very happy Thanksgiving. Hope you guys are not out fighting the crowds, Black Friday shopping today. But regardless, we wanted to bring this episode right after Christmas, or excuse me, right after Thanksgiving, and give you guys something to look forward to for the weekend. We have PA rifle opener starting here Saturday, so we got turkey, TV, rifle season. So this episode, we're not going to give you any of the PA archery season for us yet. You'll see that next week. Mainly you'll see Ricky. Keith and I didn't have much of anything going on for archery season here in Pennsylvania, but this episode is all about our trip out to B&D Outfitters in Nebo, Illinois, and what a trip it was. Highs and lows for sure. This trip was a little different than what we did last year. We actually had a whole group of folks come out with us to hunt. We had a great time. It was a great trip. Everybody saw deer. Not everybody shot deer, but definitely a trip for the books. So we're going to start off. Keith and I, on the first day, along with his brother Eric, actually were going to hunt at the same property that I killed on last year. And for me, it wasn't the greatest morning. I was actually back at the lodge early. Keith and Eric sat all day. It was pouring rain pretty much all day until about 3, 4 o'clock. So take a look here. Keith will give you some lowdown of his morning. So as you can see, Keith and Eric had a little bit of a rough morning, similar to myself. We had no deer, and again, Keith and Eric sat all day in those stands. Keith was actually in a climber, and I think the rain just didn't have deer up on their feet. But the afternoon, I made a little bit of a change to go to a property that Scott had acquired for this season, and right up the road. Got up there, excuse me, everything looked great, so I was excited. I had a set of climbing sticks and a hang-on stand, and he had nothing set up, so he said, hey, if you find something that you think is right, you know, here's the borders, here's the property lines, you know, set it up and hunt the afternoon there. So unfortunately, I didn't get anything from this property on video, but I'm going to use this second to reiterate something that every hunter talks about, and it's called tree stand safety. I purchased a brand new set of sticks before we left for the trip, literally 3 days before we left for the trip. I found a perfect spot. I was getting ready to put the hang on up. I got all 4 sticks up. I was standing on the top rung of the 4th stick at about 19 feet, and the load-bearing strap that came with those sticks broke. I am not a big guy. I weigh about 180 pounds soaking wet. So that strap should have never broke. Thankfully, I had a harness on with my lineman belt. So for the guys that are using sticks or going up hang-ons on sticks, wear a lineman belt. Even though I had the lineman belt on, tree bark at 100 miles an hour for about 10 to 12 feet with an abrupt stop is not fun. So check the equipment, guys. You know, again, these were brand new sticks, brand new straps. They should have never ever broke. I still don't understand how it broke, but I was literally throwing the tree strap around the tree to hook the stand up, and that's when that strap let go. So first day didn't pan out so great, but take a look at some of the next sets we had for days 2, 3, and then I'll be back to talk about day 4. Morning, everybody. Day 2, Illinois. We are, everybody's seeing deer, let's put it that way. There's a buck hanging on the pole back at camp. One of the other members of another group that's sharing camp with us this week shot a really nice 9-point last night, which you'll see. Keith and Keith didn't see anything yesterday. I unfortunately had an eventful day, we'll put it that way. But I moved with 2 of the guys that came with us over to a farm north of the lodge. I really, really like this setup. About 20 feet up, it's a little draw. Straight dead ahead of me is a cornfield. To my left is a cornfield, and behind me is a cornfield, and to my right is a green field. So I heard some deer moving in this thick stuff earlier. But a lot of nice bucks were seen yesterday. Obviously that 9-point was shot yesterday. So we're hoping to make it a good day 2. My father-in-law, who is on this trip with us, actually shot at a really big 8. Unfortunately went over its back. So hopefully I'll get another crack at it today. It is the opening day of duck season here in Illinois. And I haven't heard shots in a little bit, but before it sounded like World War III.
I killed my buck a year ago here today in Pike County. So my goal is to smoke one tonight on its year anniversary. Keith is on the river bottom property. I'm up here with a couple of the guys from the group. And this looks awesome because it's super open, so I can see deer coming from a while away. So stay tuned, hopefully something happens. Morning everybody. Day 3 here in Illinois. We are way back off the beaten path. One of the guys in our group saw a really nice shooter buck yesterday. So we bailed out of here for last night, went to another farm, which was an awesome farm, but just didn't have anything happening. So 3 of us came over to hunt this very back piece of one of the properties. And I'm the middle. The guy who saw the buck is where he saw the buck, set up in a climber. I'm in a pretty comfy double ladder stand. It was about 38 degrees this morning. And the other guy is about 150 yards to my right. I just had a 4-point go by at about 40 yards. I don't know if you can see over my shoulder here. I'm on the back edge of a cornfield. And I've got a tractor bed down here in front of me. But it's Halloween. It's like the start of the rut. Like the main week of the rut here in Illinois. So I was trying to kill a buck yesterday because it would have been a 1-year anniversary for me. But it didn't pan out, so let's hope something happens today. We're sitting all day long, so today's the day, hopefully.
So we had lots of excitement going on day 2 and 3 with some of the other hunters in the group. And as you got to see a little bit of the lodge there, you know, Scott and the entire team at B&D are phenomenal. And I've said it on Facebook, I've said it to the group that went out there. We have really got to know Scott and his family. I call them personal friends. He just does a phenomenal job. And before we get into day 4, back on day 1, one of the gentlemen who was not with us in our group, but was sharing the lodge with us, we call him Uncle Paul. That was something Scott was calling him. He's known Scott for a little while. He's been there for 3 years now, coming back to the lodge to hunt. So day 1, he killed a really nice 9-point. And unfortunately, we didn't have any of the kill on film, but we did get to go out and track finding his deer with him, and it was just awesome to see. Awesome to see his reaction. Scott, Harold, and Chance. Harold and Chance are Scott's guides, And to be able to go out and track this deer with those guys and catch some of it on film was awesome. So Uncle Paul, nice job again. And so check out his deer, and then we'll get into day 4.
He's a nice one.
Awesome, man. Look at
He's
that.
a nice one, Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
Well, you said he had brown horns. Way
Nice
to
job,
go.
Uncle
Way to
Paul.
All the
Uncle
guys
Paul.
from B&D outfitting tracked them through all the rain and did a wonderful job.
He was zigzagging.
What's going on, guys? Greg, Ragnar Chronicles. We are out with Uncle Paul in that beautiful 9-point that he shot this afternoon. First day in camp. We made it happen. It's been an interesting day to say the least. Glad to finish it up on a high note. Uncle Paul, how'd you feel about that one?
It was fantastic. It was a rainy day, kind of miserable, but I stuck it out, and the reward is worth it. Everybody here is taking care of me. A little bit hard getting around, but they're helping. Great group of guys.
We got Harold and Chance getting ready to
What is it?
get him cleaned up. So as I said before, guys, everybody saw deer. Josh, who was one of the hunters that came out with us, was on one of the farms first thing in the morning, had a shooter 12 at 10 feet. Unfortunately, as he went to draw back, there was a stick stuck in his cam, and he could not draw the bow back. We had another guy from our group that saw a 10 that he thought was a little young, so we passed on him. We had another gentleman see a 12 on a different farm that literally laid down in a soybean field 200 yards in front of him. Obviously, he's not taking a 200-yard shot with a vertical bow. Wouldn't take a 200-yard shot with a crossbow either. We all saw lots of doe. We saw small bucks, young bucks. Day 4, I can remember the game plan that we talked about the night before. So we decided, myself, Josh, and Shane, 2 of the other gentlemen that were in our group, we were going to hunt one of the farms in the morning and then change some stands up for the afternoon. So the night before, I had talked to Scott and said, hey, you know, these deer seem like they're coming out, but they're kind of skirting where the stands are that we were sitting in. I said, you have this gun stand right on the edge of the cornfield. I said, are you okay if I go sit in that stand? He said, yeah, totally up to you. If that's what you want to do, do it. So we made some movements. Shane was about 1,000 yards in front of me, directly in front of me, in a small patch in the cornfield. Josh was set up about 1,200 yards to my right in a little finger of hardwoods that jutted out into the cornfield. And I was sitting on the far north end, right on the edge of the property line, in a gun stand that I literally had to take the shooting rail off of, in the stand. And yes, Scott, I did put it back on. But I got in that stand, felt comfortable. It was kind of windy that afternoon and evening, but I remember taking my phone out and taking a picture, sitting in the stand overlooking the cornfield, and I said, it feels like tonight's a good night. So at about 5:30ish, probably a little bit before that, the wind started picking up real bad, and it was starting to rain. And Scott likes to pick on me. So I grew up hunting, you know, you sit for a few hours, you go walk. You sit for a few hours, you go walk. It's hard to do when you're hunting with an outfitter and you have other people hunting the property. because you don't want to push anything. So I had texted everybody. I said, if this rain gets any heavier, the wind was blowing directly into my face. I said, I'm probably going to get down. So the rain never picked up to the point that I needed to get down. But it was getting enough that I was getting ready to take the camera off the arm in the tree so that way it wouldn't get soaked. And as I was doing that, I looked over to my left, and, well, you'll see what happens from there.
I know you didn't see that shot. I just had a monster 9 or 10 point come in. Came in from my left right here. And I thought he was going to turn. I drew back. He got underneath this limb. And he was getting ready to turn again, and I shot him. Holy cow. It was not a throw and through, which was not good. So I'm hoping that the Luminoc will stick out.
flood over here, guys. Over the fence. Right here. There he is. Good job, man. Way to go. Good job, man.
Oh boy, I was getting worried.
Put these out of the back. Yeah. Very cool. Good job, man. Yeah, awesome, man. Way to go. Good job, man. Put your hands on it. Good. Cool.
Shit, man.
That's a hell of a nice puck. Yeah, he's a nice one. There you go, brother.
Cool as hell. Look at that guy.
He didn't go that far, really.
No, he didn't.
Let me pull some of the weeds up for you.
How cool is that? You're gonna get blood all over your pants.
That's alright. Be careful. They're hunting close. That's what they're for.
Wow, how cool.
Look at that, bud.
Holy shit. That's fucking sweet, dude. Way to go, Greg.
That's crazy looking bastard.
awesome.
That's a nice rack.
3, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
He's like a 15 all day.
Good job. Awesome. He's got some mass.
Yeah, he
nice deer.
Yeah, he does.
He's gonna make a fucking sweet mouth.
Yes, he is. Holy crap. So guys, there you have it. It's not always the way you want it to go. It's never always planned out. But if everything works in your favor, you're going to end up shooting a nice deer. So I am super thankful from this trip. The buck that I shot, who I called Funky, Scott never had him on a camera. You know, he just appeared. I was lucky enough. The shot was at 8 yards, and we recovered him after dinner. But he is my biggest buck to date with a bow. I can't wait to get him back. And again, I cannot thank Scott and the entire team, the ladies that do all the cooking, all of the group that came out with us. Keith and I, you know, we feel like that's a better way to do it. Is having a whole bunch of people come out with us and have a good weekend camp and have fun and tell stories, play darts, all that fun stuff. So we are booking another trip for 2022 for week 5 at B&D. Keith will probably not be going on that trip because he'll be in Montana chasing elk next year. So we do have some guys already on the list. Excuse me. And we have some space open. So if you are interested in coming out to B&D in Pike County, seeing some just monster deer, both antlers and bodies, and you want to have great home cooked meals every night you're there, packed lunches, you name it, Scott and the entire team out there takes care of it. Please get a hold of us. Reach out to us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. However you can get a hold of us, get a hold of us. We'd love to have you with us next year, 2022, back at B&D. So thank you again, guys, for tuning in. We'll see you next week with Rick's Hunt here from Pennsylvania. And make sure you check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We'll talk to you soon.